Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. Delighted to be joined by Paul Wood here in the launch pad. Nice to see you.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
So we're delighted to be down here.
Yeah.
Long time coming, getting down to visit you guys down at HQ here. We've done a lot of testing today on the new G430 irons.
Yep.
We've just looked at driver with Eric, and we're going to run through hybrids and fairway woods with Paul. We were just talking a little bit before we kind of turned the cameras on. In our opinion, G425 and all of our testing, if there was one hybrid, if you had to hang your hat in one hybrid, we would be going G425 as the hybrid.
I think it was the best.
Yeah, I do as well. Versatility. I think the flat settings were a huge benefit to the hybrid, because everybody knows how much some people struggle with the kind of overdrawing them, and that was a huge part of that. So talk to me a little bit about the process with taking such a great product like that, Paul, and trying to enhance it, not take away what was really great about it in the first place.
Yeah, it is. It's the hardest thing when you've had a real success.
Yep.
And we know the hybrids in particular, and the fairway was really good, is making sure you don't screw it up next time. Right? So there's a real pressure to make, but you have to change some things. We have to keep evolving and improving because everyone else is going to get better too.
Totally.
So a lot of mathematics behind the scenes, which makes me happy. I'm a mathematician, but we've really optimized where we were with our technology on 425, and we have a group that Eric runs called the Golf Science Team, and they're delving a lot into modeling and using the data we get from things like our motion capture system here to then feed into how do we run what-if scenarios with 10,000 shots and figure out some things we can do. And basically, to cut a very long story short, we discovered there was a little more we could do if we could keep driving the center of mass just a little bit more down with fairways and hybrids. So we took the plunge, and we've gone with carbon fiber in the crown. It brings in some technological challenges in terms of more pieces to glue together, bonding, more proving parts, more that can go wrong, but the bang for our buck, these are steel, so when you're replacing steel with carbon fiber, you're getting quite a big weight savings and gives you more mass that you can position where you want. And so, but having that combined, this is where the mathematics comes in, having that center of mass move combined with optimizing the curvature, the bulge and roll, and we explained, or at least we tried to explain, spin consistency last time, and that's still there, and we've kind of continued to keep evolving that. And then so moment of inertia, bulge and roll, center of mass all kind of come together, along with where the players miss on the face to produce results. So a lot of modeling, but the end result is kind of getting a little bit lower spin and squeezing out a bit more distance without sacrificing ball speed, playability, the left-right bias, all that kind of stuff.
So that minimal change to CGE, pulling it down a little bit more by changing the kind of carbon in the crown, just getting a little more launch, little less spin is a lot of that where we're kind of getting
maintaining ball speed at the same time. Designing clubs is all trade-offs, right? Innovation is about breaking trade-offs and saying, can I give you something else without sacrificing?
Got it.
Design is about managing all these trade-offs, and we discovered that we could actually go a little lower with CG, actually trade off a little bit of moment of inertia. These are not as high moment of inertia as their predecessors, but the combination of all three gives us actually more forgiveness. So forgiveness is lots of things, one of which is moment of inertia, and that's still super important. 64 years into Ping's history, that's still very important, so don't take the message that moment of inertia is bad. But in this particular case, we were able to gain a bit on center of mass, give a little on moment of inertia, and get a better result.
So the moment of inertia measurement might have went down, but the effective moment of inertia has effectively went up because of all the coupling
because of the shaping of the phase, because of the center of mass. Getting that center of mass more in line with the miss pattern, or the hit pattern. Every shot's a slight miss hit, but we've done a lot looking at golfers' miss pattern with different hybrids, with the 2, 3, 4. Looking at different golfer groups, what is a typical 18 handicapper's miss pattern versus a 10 handicapper versus a pro. So that's all kind of fed. That's where the mathematics comes in. It all gets fed through the models.
Got it. So I think Matty, you're someone who stands to gain from that a little bit.
You think so?
I think your delivery as it moves on the slightly steeper side, someone who can really benefit from that CG being down a little bit, get the launch up a little bit, stop that kind of rise in spin. Ball. you know, where you're going to get the spinny ones. I think the consistency from the remodeling of the shaping of the head on the face side, I think will really be good for you as well. So I think this is a great test for you to do.
And you fit me to a G425, but to be honest, I was kind of thinking I'm going to wait and see what this is like, because I'm sure it will be subtly better, and it sounds like it. You know, you guys have made some good improvements.
Yeah, and then one of the other benefits is mixing steel with carbon fiber gives us a bit more freedom in our design to make the sound better too. So at the same time as bringing in the performance, you're kind of balancing that. You know, we know the sound a little more muted. Yeah, you know, the faster swing speed players tend to prefer a little more muted.
Totally.
That felt really good. Good flight on that. That one felt pretty good. It's nice, maybe a hair in the heel with the strike, so a little extra spin. That's hit pretty well.
Good. So
a bit of a fade, but that's the yardage, right?
Yeah, and a little bit more of that higher launch, kind of lower spin on that one there, Matty. Sounded good.
Felt good.
Dialed in now.
Yeah, that was the one I think there.
Yeah. The sound has changed, like Paul said, for sure. I think the G425 had a little bit of a high-pitched sound, which I didn't mind, to be honest.
No, me neither.
Never minded it. But this feels a lot more muted, just like we talked about.
Definitely.
That's hit much more solid. I think that's probably about as well as I could hit. Hit that really well.
There we go.
Really good.
Am I right that that's about exactly what we were looking for?
Exactly what we would want.
It's good too. It might be a bit spinnier. Yeah, just a bit of a heel strike.
Probably, but
It's a good miss.
But really didn't see much of a spike on that spin at all.
Yeah, this is good. A little flat fade on that one. A little high in the face.
I mean, you really found your groove.
This is great.
Fairway.
Yep.
Pretty good there.
Yeah, that felt like a little pull fade. Obviously the high strikes, spin came down a bit, lost a bit of ball speed, but the carry was the same. And then I had some nice lower strikes that were a little spinnier but had more ball speed and got out to the yardage that we wanted.
Yeah, I think we consistently saw any time you lost ball speed, that ball speed loss was masked by the right launch conditions, higher launch, lower spin. So really there was many times there you hit one and it didn't actually lose any distance.
No.
It still got out to about 280-ish in terms of total distance.
I think on the golf course you'd feel that subtle difference in strike, but you'd be walking off the tee happy, back to the cart. And I think this is just a really friendly fairway wood, and it's not overly big. I'm not sure, Paul, if you guys made it look a little bit smaller in footprint this year, but it looks...
Yeah, it's kind of playing with the graphics on top to make it look a little smaller.
It looks a bit smaller for the max model.
Does it? Yeah.
And as I said, I think for a 15-degree model, you can see it looks to me like a friendly amount of loft. The face isn't overly tall. I think it's just a very easy fairway wood to hit.
How would 430 max compare to 425 LST?
That's a good question. So probably fairly similar. Maybe it's a tiny bit higher spin than the LST, but pretty close because we brought the max down.
Yes.
And
shrink that gap.
So that's pretty
a little
cool.
bit.
So when the LST eventually comes out a little bit later,
you
can really probably see hitting some players that are very high spin, dropping that spin down for them.
Yeah. So for example, for me personally, I'm never in that high 2000s range with the fairway wood. I'm more in the high 3000s.
Yep.
The LST just
so
brings
you'd be perfect for it
down into a better range to start with.
It's great.
In terms of consumer sort of interest, are you guys seeing the same thing as I guess the market is seeing in terms of lots of 5 and 7 woods going into bags right now?
Yeah, we see we see quite a lot of 3 wood 7 wood combinations, especially maybe that 3 wood in the plus. So the 3 wood almost as a 4 wood.
Okay.
That and a 7 wood is pretty common.
Right.
or like a 3-wood or a 5-wood, and then a couple of hybrids is pretty common too. So
Yeah, and the certain bag
they
setups.
they work for a lot of people, especially if you don't have a ton of speed.
Yeah.
Then you get free speed out of a fairway wood.
I've always thought paying woods, especially in the higher lots, were the easiest to elevate. Like I've had a 17.5 degree for a few years, or 2 years, that you fit me for.
Yeah.
I think it's always been just such an easy club to get up in the air. So I can see the 7-wood being popular for a player that maybe has trouble hitting it high.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of fairwoods in the market right now, but when it comes to the 7-wood, they kind of pull their technology out of it a little bit in terms of the adjustability, and they kind of leave you with a 7-wood glued, bonded. One of the things I love about what Ping do is they leave all that in there. It's full adjustability, full access to all 8 tuning ports, which I think is excellent. And for maybe a player who wants to add 7-wood but have it flat, maybe have it sit a little open, just whether it's be a loft configuration or a face angle preference. I think you've tons of options with that as well.
Yeah, we've seen that from the crossover all the way through to the 3-wood.
Yeah.
Just the loft sleeve just works really well, I think.
It really does.
Yeah.
Guys, hope you enjoyed that. We'll definitely dive a little bit deeper once we get back to the studio. We'll do a little bit more on the fitting side of things.
Yes.
Matty's already confirmed he's got the 430 Hybrid on
430
order.
Hybrid is definitely getting ordered, and I think I'm looking forward to playing around with the LST driver with the full shaft matrix, because I think just the only issue I had was I wasn't striking it as well. We could move the strike point. I think that driver might be really good for me.
Right in your wheelhouse. Yeah. Good stuff. Okay, guys, really excited to show you more with the G430 line. Stay tuned. We'll see you again soon.